You should have 3 copies of your two-dimensional line design project. We will be transforming this into a sculpture. We're going to start by cutting out the papers. You may be comfortable cutting 2 out at a time. It would be a little hard to do 3. It's up to you. I'm going to use 1 just to show you how. We're going to divide these into rectangles. Folding the paper in half, and then the same direction I'm going to fold it in half again. Now long ways, I will fold it up once, and then I will undo it. What you should have is the long side of the paper should have 4 rectangles, and the short side should be divided right down the middle. So you should end up with 8 rectangles by the end. Following the folds, you're going to cut along those lines. Notice that I'm using the white side of the paper, so it's a little easier to see the folded lines, because on this side, it's very hard to see anything. Now that I've cut it in half, I'm actually going to stack it so I can get both of the papers at the same time. When I flip them over, I should have a whole lot of squares with different parts of my pattern on it. Repeat with the other 2 sheets of paper until you have a whole bunch of cut rectangles. Your rectangles do not need to be cut perfectly. We will be rolling them into tubes, so if a corner is sticking out here and there, it really doesn't matter. So in order to make a tube, we're going to use 1 rectangle at a time. Make sure you place it face down on the table. Take your pencil and take the paper, curl it around the pencil as you roll it. The toughest part is getting the first roll done. If you don't take this edge here and tuck it underneath the pencil and really push it with your fingers as you roll, what'll happen is as you roll, it won't stick. So you have to take your fingers and really tuck it underneath the pencil as you're turning it. I am pressing down very hard as I roll it. I might even roll it a couple extra times. What this does is tighten it around the pencil really well. You want a roll that's very tight. If it's loose, it will fall apart and it will get really soft and soggy. When I use the glue, I'm only using a tiny thin line. And I'm not putting it right against the edge of the paper. There's a little space before I get to the edge. Don't want to put it right along the edge. Now this isn't sticking, so what I should do is when I roll it, I'm going to keep rolling it for a little while afterwards. Again, tightening the roll around the pencil and getting the glue to help stick to the paper. I'm rubbing it up and down with my finger. If you get glue on your hands or the table, you can use a paper towel to kind of dry it off a bit. We don't need wet paper towels, it'll make our papers very soggy. Now, just pull it off your pencil. If you have a little trouble, twist the pencil as you hold the tube and it'll come off. When you're finished with one of your tubes, put it to the side, let them dry, and move on to the next one. Remember the first curl, you have to really tuck it in and press hard and down. I'm rolling away from myself instead of towards myself. It's much easier to press and push away from you than to pull it towards you. When I leave that foot open, I'm pressing down the pencil with my other hand, letting a little thin strip of glue come out. I'm really pushing the glue tip against the table, and I'm not squeezing the glue very hard. I'm ready to roll it a few times along the table, get it to stick. You can also hold it with your fingers. And once you see the edge is completely flat, it's not sticking out, you can pull the tube off the pencil. If glue gets on your pencil, please dry it off. If it gets stuck to your pencil, you won't get the tube off. Okay, now mine's not tucking. I'm going to roll it back and try again. I'm starting on the bottom and I'm pushing away from me. If you want to try something else because the glue is getting too messy on the table, you can use your finger to press and roll the paper. This might get your hands sticky, but you can always wipe your hands off too. It's not as messy on the table if you do it with in your hand, but you have to hold it tight, otherwise it'll come off, it'll unravel. Now, what happens if after you put your glue down and you try and roll it, you let go, and now your paper is sticky and it's not rolled up? Just keep the one side that's sticky away from the pencil and re-roll it. It will still work. Roll it again several extra times to tighten the tube. Make sure to use your finger to press down the seam.